ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। The analysis of Swadharma, instead of making it more clearer to you people, I think, I have more confused you. See, Swadharma, what you understand is any action that I execute and I'm able to derive joy from the sheer performance of it. The action of it, if I'm able to enjoy, cherish, you can take it as that is what your nature is. How we will know that, sir? It's very easy to know. What happens to you when you meet with failure? When you encounter failure, what happens to you? The lady in the house says, I enjoy cooking. Now imagine that people are not appreciating that. Your cooking is not appreciated for 10 days, let's say. What happens? What is your level of inspiration to continue to do the cooking? Continuously, your 3 quarters loss. Next quarter, how do you go to office? That is how we find out. How do you identify that? Because invariably, when I ask you, most of the time you will come to conclusion that wherever you are getting a positive result, you will say, I'm enjoying that activity. Like I would say, I'm enjoying teaching Vedanta. Why? Because about 100 people are attending the class. Therefore, I will enjoy that. Full stop. Imagine that only 2 are sitting in the class. What happens then? What happens to your level of inspiration? You see, when that inspiration drops, because I am not getting the positive result, when I am not getting the result that I wanted, what happens there? Is an easier way of identifying whether you are performing it as Swadharma or not. Is that your field? That is why we give natural examples. Imagine a rose attempting to become a rose flower, the rose seed attempting to become a rose flower, vis-a-vis the rose seed attempting to become jasmine, lotus. Why? Lotus is a bigger flower. I am looking very small, but the lotus is looking very big. So I want to become big. So what I am going to do, sir? I am going to work to become like lotus. What happens to that flower now? What happens to, even if he succeeds to grow in size? He may grow also in size. He may also become bigger, comparison to other roses. But still, he will appear himself as what? There will be a lot of struggle and strain in the entire process. Similarly, at every level of your personality, when you are living your life, when you are doing, the very action will give you joy. That is what I said yesterday. When you are performing obligatory actions at the physical level, body level, the very action will give joy. When you are promoting your higher desire, the very action of promoting that will give you joy. noble emotion. Okay, if you don't want to use the word desire, use the word emotion. Noble emotion and a base emotion. There are two you have. Now when you are promoting that, the very effort of promoting that will give you joy. Similarly, at the level of thought, intellectually, when you are gaining intelligence, X amount of joy. There is joy in that. When you learn, there is joy, no? Isn't it? All of us know that. You know, whatever, when you learn something, there is joy in that. When you get to know something new, there is joy in that. Intellectual pleasure is there. And learn something new, a new language you learn, there is joy in that. Whereas, in comparison to that, when you are reflecting and churning out knowledge out of you, instead of taking it from outside, you are bringing it from within. The joy of bringing it from within is far more comparison to this. So we say, at this stage, what is to be done? This is another way of understanding it. So when you say Swadharma, how, on what basis we define Swadharma, sir? Foundation is Dharma, remember. Common word is Dharma. Only difference is Swa and Para. Dharma is a common word for both. Swa Dharma, Para Dharma. Now first, we have to define what we mean by Dharma. Dharma essentially means what? Dharma, the word, means essential nature. What is the essential nature of it? Is the Dharma of that. What is the essential nature of sugar? Sweetness. So what is the Dharma of sugar? Sweetness. If you remove sweetness out of sugar, what is it, sir? Crystal. It's not sugar anymore. You will not call it as sugar anymore. You will call it as crystal. What makes sugar a sugar is the sweetness in it. Same way, what is my Dharma? What is it that essentially that makes me what I am? This is where the knowledge comes into picture. There we understand my real nature is the self. I am not this limited, constricted, restricted, small self. I am that supreme self. That is my real nature. Now we understand what is Swadharma and Paradharma. Anything that takes me towards that nature of mine is Swadharma. Anything that takes me away from that, Paradharma. That's all. My own nature. What is my real nature? My real nature is the self. Any action, any perception, any emotion, any desire, any thought that takes me closer to my real nature, Swadharma. That if I promote, I am in the Swadharmic field. Anything that is taking me away from the self, I am promoting that. There I am in the Paradharmic field. That's all. I got a lot of questions from that. Essentially that what I understood is all of the everybody is confused in the idea of what is this Swadharma, Paradharma. Sattvic intellect understands. One facet of Sattvic intellect is it understands what is Swadharma and what is Paradharma. What is Swadharma? My nature. How do you define your nature? How do you fix it? You can't say my thoughts and my emotions, because that keeps changing. The desires that you had about 5 years back, you are not having it now. The emotions that you are entertaining 10 years back is not there anymore now. The thoughts that you had entertained then is not there now. The beliefs that you had earlier, you are not there now. The body that you had earlier is not there now, but you are still there. Therefore, that's not your essential nature. That is also there, we can say. Sugar has crystal also in that, but that's not the essential part of sugar. Essential dimension of sugar is what? Sweetness. That is how we identify. Now, what is my real, what is my essential nature? My essential nature is the self. Now I am standing. Okay. One direction, if I go, I will move closer to the self. Another direction, if I go, I will be traveling away from the self. Any effort, anything that I do in this direction, that is called Swadharma. Anything that I do in the opposite direction is called Paradharma. This understanding Sattvic intellect has. Rajasic intellect gets confused. Tamasic intellect takes the opposite. What it takes? Tamasic intellect takes the body to be my essential. That's all. What are you, sir? I am essentially my body, it takes. This is where the problem comes for Tamasic intellect. Rajasic intellect is confused. And remember, education is possible only for Rajasic intellect. Tamasic intellect cannot be taught. There is no education possibility. Learning possibility is not there for Tamasic intellect. That's where the danger is. Tamasic intellect's danger is that it is not available for education. The Sattvic intellect doesn't require education because it knows. It's already educated. Who needs, sir? Who can be taught? Only Rajasic intellect can be taught. Those who had confusion, there is a possibility for getting clarity. Those who have never got any doubt, whatever you said, I understood Ishwaran, if a fellow says, what does it mean? Only two chances are there. Either you have to be a Sattvic intellect or you have to have Tamasic intellect. Guarantee I can give you, it must be Tamasic intellect. Why? If you were to be having Sattvic intellect, you will not be sitting and listening to my class. The fact that you are listening to me is a proof what? You don't carry Sattvic intellect. Sattvic intellect will say you are blabbering, you are nonsense, you are talking, it will walk out. It doesn't require all this. The Tamasic intellect will say what? Correct. Whatever you say, correct, Ishwaran. Full stop. Problem solved. See, only Rajasic intellect will get confused. Sometimes deliberately in the scriptures we see them triggering that confusion because you are not totally Tamasic. You see, your intellect is not totally Tamasic. It has little Tamas and good amount of Rajas is there in you. So what do they do, sir? They trigger you. They create. That's where they give lot of contradictory statements, conflicting statements, confusing statements, apparently, conflicting with things, triggering so many things in you. It's there in the Shastras. Why? Only to trigger that border case is there, no? Between Tamas and Rajas, that border case is there, you see. The border cases to be triggered. For that they give it. You see, so in the scriptures you give. And one more thing you have to understand in these things is there is no absolute definition about anything. Only very few definitions we have. Knowledge. What is absolute definition for knowledge? No, there is no such thing. It will go in different layers and different forms and different contexts. It will mean different things. but the word will remain the same. You see, so all these things are there in the scriptures only to trigger us to think. So think about it. And one more suggestion is, suppose if you have about 4 points or 5 points are there, you have, or three points, let's say, you have, of the 3, you have you are able to understand 2 points and you are not able to understand the third point. Let's say 1 point you are not able to understand. I say forget about it. I tell people keep it aside. Let us consider that later. Right now, whatever area that you have believing that you have understood, with reference to what are to be feared and what is not to be feared, that aspect I have understood, Ishwaran, with reference to sattvic intellect. If you say, probe there. Don't worry about the areas that you have not understood. This is called reflection. How you should think is, don't worry about this area where you are not, because the area where you are not understood, most of the time the thinking comes as a reflex. What? No. This is confusing. All this is mind. Remember, this is not intellect. If you have to think, where you have to begin your thinking, sir. Never strive, don't try to think in the areas where you have not understood, where you feel there is a conflict. Keep those 2 points aside. Take that point, what you are convinced about. Rajasic actor will be like that. Correct. I have understood that point. You have right. Start thinking in that point. That is where you will recognize what sort of intellect you have. What is your intellectual stamina? Don't worry about the areas where you have not understood, areas which are apparently conflicting or contradicting with your belief. Keep aside these 2 points. Don't worry about those 2 areas. We will come back to it later through something else. It will get revealed. Maybe for whatever reason there is confusion. Don't worry about those 2 things. Invariably, what happens to all of us is your thinking will get triggered automatic in those fields. You will immediately start. But in the areas, the points wherever you believe that you have understood, how much ever small that area can be, doesn't matter. Don't worry about, have I understood all that? No. I have understood only 2 points. Let's say in this entire 11 days of lecture, I have understood only 2 points, Ishwaran. More. Rest are all, went over by more. I didn't, follow all that. I say forget about that part. Concentrate on the 2 points. Your learning will go. There will be a meteoric growth in your understanding and your depth. Then trying to reconcile, trying to understand what you have not understood. This is what we mean by thinking, where you consciously bring out thoughts. Consciously bringing out thoughts is possible with so much of effort. In these 2 areas, questions will come automatic to you. See, that is why we give 2-3 areas. 4-5 points I try to cover in every aspect of it is for this purpose only. Someone will understand one, somebody will understand the other, somebody else will understand something else, depending upon their, application things and all that. So whatever you understand, take that facet. Don't worry about the areas that is not clear or the areas where there is a conflict. Because I believed like that. I thought it's like this. Now you are saying this. I thought like that. I studied like this, I have understood like this, now you are saying this. There is a conflict. Now try to reconcile that Ishwaran. No, don't worry about that part. Recognize that, make a note, keep it separately. Right now your focus has to be there. Try to probe, think in the field where you believe that you have understood. Your understanding depth. You try this for at least another 1 month, whatever you study, wherever you go, how long ever you can think, doesn't matter. You do that, only then you will recognize the power of this methodology. This is called reflection. Tremendous understanding will dawn. See, now coming to this idea, this is a incidental point I just wanted to share. That's all. That's not the context one. The context is we are studying the personality chart and we are doing Sattva, Rajas, Tamas in different facets of human personality. We have seen this Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. What does Sattva say? Sattva means a person who is integrated. Integrated personality is called a Sattvic personality. Rajasic person is what, sir? Confused, conflicting. Tamasic personality is a split personality. That's all. Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Now, how do you understand Sattvic personalities? Integrated one. Rajasic personality, conflicting one, confusing. Tamasic personality, split personality. I'm not talking in terms of that psychological, psychology, schizophrenia. That's extreme. I'm saying. I'm not talking about that part. I say you are totally divided. Total division. Beautiful example. Don't go out and say, this one. I'm just giving one facet of it. Okay. Because you will immediately jump to conclusions. Don't jump to conclusions, please. Understand, because this is demonstrated so beautifully in that character. Yudhishthira, if you take, you read about Yudhishthira, you see Yudhishthira in this chapter, in the portion in what is the text? Mahabharata. Yudhishthira in Mahabharata, this Yaksha Prashna, there is a portion. Yaksha asks question, Yudhishthira gives answer. You read that portion, what is the opinion you will have about Yudhishthira? And you see his character, he will go through every facet, every action, dharma, 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 all such a dharmic fellow he is. That's why they call, he's been named as Dharmaputra. He had the name. Yudhishthira is his nickname is this, Dharmaputra he is. And you come to this portion in Shanti Parva and Anusana Parva in Mahabharata after the war, post-war, huge Parva that is. Those two Parvas are huge. All that entire Parva is just a conversation, education happening between Bhishma and Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira asks question, Bhishma gives answers. How many questions the fellow asks, how many dimensions of life he is touching to inquire, unbelievable questions and extraordinary analysis and answers given by Bhishma. You will look at Yudhishthira as who now? My God, what wisdom he must have, what knowledge he must have, how much of dharma he follows in his life, everything he does beautifully. Same fellow can pawn his wife also. You see that? See, one side of Yudhishthira is what? Don't conclude immediately, Yudhishthira is a tamasic fellow. Don't say that, please. That is what the problem with you people. Immediately you will jump to conclusions. It is the facet of it is demonstrated. That's about it. Don't take it beyond. If you take it like that, then you will be in trouble. See, this is called split. This also he can do comfortably. That also he can do comfortably. Most of you will fall into the category if you analyze carefully. The moment I give your life example. Isn't it? When you go to Tirupati, how are you? Govinda, 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 people go, And it's fascinating to see those people. I've been to, this Sabarimala. Sabarimala, when people go, you see them, when they have that, they put on that mala, and then, after that, everybody, they will start calling as, Swami, Swami only. Everybody becomes Swami after that. Swami, 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 and they follow the rules to the toe. Amazing one. He finishes that Abhishekam there. First thing he comes out, what he is doing, sir? Smoking. They can smoke with such comfort, such ease. This also he can do with ease. At the same time, he comes here, he looks like a perfect devotee. This also possible, comfortably. Why, sir? Because those two things belong to two different compartments in his life. That is a different person, this is a different person. That is called a split personality. Don't take it as schizophrenia, please. This is where we make a mistake. So what is a sattvic person, sir? Integrated, consistent, uniform personality is. Wherever he is, whatever he does, there is a touch. You can ask him to do this also. That also looks so divine, or also looks so beautiful. Yeah. Rajasic personality is a conflicting personality. Confused fellow. This should be done, that should be done, this should be done, that should be done. Indecisive. Tamasic fellow clearly creates a demarcation. What? Here I am like that, there I am like this. This is different, that is different. That person itself is different, this person itself is different. So everywhere there is a compartmentalized living. That is called tamasic. Tamasic personality, that is. Now, next idea we take upon is the dhriti. Dhriti is steadfastness, consistency, firmness, willpower. All this you mix together. That mixture is called dhriti. In one word, we just call it as steadfastness. That's about it. But what you have to understand is the capacity, the willingness to work on, the capacity in you to follow through your decisions, implement your own decisions. And this is where these two things are critical for us. That is why this consistency and intellect were studied together separately. Together separately. I don't know how that is correct. Intellect. When you have a sharp intellect without consistency, what is useless? Okay. Without buddhi, you are consistent on something, dangerous. Isn't it? Without thinking, you are consistently going on. In which direction you are going, you don't know. You keep on traveling. What a dangerous that is. without application at all, if you keep on traveling in one direction, it's more dangerous, that is. And intellect without consistent application is of no use. And in fact, single unit factor defines success in any field of life. We'll say, if you want one thing, sir, consistency. That's all. No matter what you do, anything you do consistently, you will become a success. You don't have to worry about anything. Consistently, you sit in one place for 11 years, you will become a Maharishi. That's all. You will become a world attraction. Like we had found one fellow, Buddha boy. They found one guy. What was he doing? Simply sitting in under one tree. He was sitting for 2.5 years. What was he doing? Simply sitting in one place. He became world famous. Not like, you don't have to become Tendulkar. You don't have to become Rajinikanth. Nothing. Or one thing that fellow did. What? He simply sat. That's it. McGrath. What was he doing, sir? One ball. He knows how to bowl that one ball. What is it, sir? 2 inches away from outside the off stump. That's all. Now, what happens to the batsman? He is not like, Wasim Akram. Wasim Akram, 6 balls, you give him 6 different balls, he will bowl. So you can't say what he is going to bowl, you will never know. That is Wasim Akram. Whereas McGrath also had equal number of wickets he took. But what did he do, sir? He was not having so much of variety. But what was he doing? One ball. One thing you keep doing, again. Anything you do like that, you will be success in that field. Full stop. Single factor defining success of life is dhriti. You have dhriti, you will be successful no matter what you do. It doesn't matter what. Constructive or destructive, that is where intellect comes into picture. Success doesn't mean you have to be constructive in life, not necessarily. Contributing in life. You could be consuming also. You can be destroying also. That is where we study these two things together. Consistency and buddhi. Buddhi and dhriti studied together as a separate unit. Why? Because these two things should go hand in hand. The consistency and your intellect. One without the other. One is useless, one is dangerous. Now, what is this dhriti, sir? What does this consistency mean? Dhriti means you are committed to what? Committed to dash. Fill in the blanks. All that you have to do is write a sentence. I am committed to dash. 1. 2. I am consistent in the pursuit of. I am committed to dash in the pursuit of dash. That defines your dhriti. That's all. Consistency by itself is not sattvic. Remember, that's what beautiful analysis Krishna does here. You see, a lot of us think consistent itself is a positive quality. No. Consistency itself is not positive. Remember, consistency in what? You are committed to what? Answer that question. Only then we can say which category you belong to. That's all. Very simple. So all that you have to do is, you are committed to what? Your commitments in life is towards what? Where you feel that you are committed to? I am answerable. I am accountable. I can't afford to just live life. I am answerable to what? Right. You answer there, then we can classify sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. I am consistent in the pursuit. I am pursuing something in my life. I am following something in life. What is it that I am pursuing? What is it that I don't give up on the perception of an obstacle? That's called willpower. Dhriti includes that willpower also. I should have that power in me to not budge, not succumb to the obstacle. A temptation. A temptation comes, I buckle. An obstacle comes, I give up. What will make me? But in any pursuit, we will find and encounter these two things. Whatever you pursue in life, there is always two things. Temptations will come, obstacles will come. Like when you are pursuing something, suddenly one order will come. Hey, little we will do, man, we will get it. All that you have to do is what? You just like make you few things you do. We will give you. It's very easy to get it. It is a temptation. You must have the capacity to say no to the temptation, and you must have the power in you to overcome that obstacle. There will be obstructions. There will be disturbing factors. There are things will come and stand on your way and say no. Do you succumb to it or not, sir? That is called a dhriti. This is what in English we call as willpower. So dhriti, steadfastness, means two things: willpower coupled with consistency. How do you identify that, sir? Answer those two lines. That's all. Then come to sattva, rajas, tamas. I am committed to what? I am committed to union with the self. And I am consistent in the pursuit of what? In the pursuit of the spiritual effort. What is the spiritual effort? He has already stated. What is the spiritual effort, sir? Three things he says as spiritual effort. What is it? Yajna, dhana, tapas. Yajna, dhana, tapas. These three things. Yajna means sacrificial actions. Don't ask me to explain Yajna now. If I have to explain Yajna, I have to take chapter 3 and chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. 2 chapters I have to explain. Then you will understand what is Yajna. Right. So now don't ask me. Right. Yajna means what? Essentially, Yajna means sacrificial action, selfless action, dedicated action. Then tapas is what, sir? Tapas means voluntarily taking up certain disciplines of life to direct my energy, conserve and direct my energy. That's where famous one we give is the two disciplines which are always referred in all this, constantly we keep on saying. You should have fasting and maunam. I see a lot of people practice fasting, but very rare practicing maunam. Fasting on why, sir? That is where you will be conserving your energy and directing it. That's what they say. Ekadeshi day, what are you supposed to do, sir? Not just fast. Many fellows started doing that. Why, sir? It is so good, detox. No, that is not, Ekadeshi, please. Ekadeshi, the second dimension is much more important. What are you supposed to do on Ekadeshi, sir? First type, one is you don't eat, correct? More than that, what is important, sir? You should constantly keep the thought of the Lord. That smaranam should keep on happening. Namasmarana should go on the whole day. That part of it we don't. What are you doing, sir? Tapas means I voluntarily take up those disciplines. If I am forced to take the discipline, that is called, that is a different one. That's why I give the example. Two fellows are having empty stomach. One fellow's empty stomach. Why, sir? Because there is nothing to eat. Another fellow, he has everything to eat, but he chose not to eat. He will also go through the pangs of hunger. The first fellow also will go through the pangs of hunger. But the first person we call as starving, the second fellow we call as fasting. What is the difference? One is forced. He has no choice. Another one is choiceful. Choicefully you take up certain disciplines in life. A particular lifestyle you take up. That is called tapas. Examples is what we tell people, they stand on one leg. Why you have to stand? You have two legs now. Why you have to stand on one leg? It's not comfortable. This is not comfortable. That's not. You go through all those things, but don't take that as the tapas. But principle is this. Principle means I voluntarily take up certain discomforts, certain disciplines, wherein I can conserve my energy at all levels of my personality. Conserve that energy and direct it for a higher purpose. When I am doing all this, that is called tapas. 2. Dhana is sharing whatever you have produced. Your ability to share what you have produced out of yajna and tapas. That is dhana. So, spiritual effort, how consistent are you in the practice of yajna, dhana, tapas? That is called a sattvic dhriti. Okay. Consistent pursuit. You are committed to the goal of realization and you are consistent in the application. Whatever obstacle comes or any temptation comes to take away from you from this pursuit, you say no. That is called consistency. That is called dhriti. That saying no dimension is called the willpower aspect of it. You must have tremendous willpower to say no for a temptation, as well as I'm not going to be budging because there is an obstacle. You go to it again. You go back to it again. You go back to it again. Again and again attempting. That is called sattvic dhriti. How do you develop? We'll come back. Okay. We'll see what is rajasic and tamasic, and then I will come back. How do you develop your sattvic dhriti? Rajasic dhriti is you have that same consistency. Commitment is there. Consistency is there. You will not budge in the pursuit of what? In the areas of your attachment and in the areas where there is a craving for the fruit of action. The field of attachment, I will also maintain that same consistency. I will pursue that. I will not give up. Just because I am blue, I'm not getting it. No, I will not give it up. I will pursue again. I'll pursue again. But what is the thing, sir? I have a lot of desire, attachment, and a craving for the fruit. That is forcing me. Out of that selfishness, I continue my performance, performing my obligations. See, the Rajasic fellow also will perform obligations we saw. Correct. Obligations, when we studied about Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic action, there we saw. Rajasic action is what, sir? Obligation also there. He will be consistent also in that. But his consistency is coming from where, sir? His consistency is not coming from this. His consistency is because of his attachment and selfishness. All this. He will also pursue. He will also do all those things. But final thing is what he wants. See, he will also go to temple and pray to God. But what he will ask? This fellow will not go to God and ask him for. He will ask what? Child, promotion, contract, solution to my problem, give me peace of mind, why I am so agitated, give me peace of mind, give me solution, give me all that. He will not go to God and pray, what? Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham Bhikshan Dehi Cha Parvati. That he will not ask. What is that Bhiksha I am asking from you? Not rice, not this. No. That is not what I am asking. Please give me what? Jnana and Vairagya you give, he will not ask. Give me that. No, that I will not. Detachment you give me. Give me more and more attachment is what we will go and pray. I want to live for 100 years. God, please save me. That's why every hospital they have. Every hospital they have, the temple they have. Why? Invariably they keep Ganesha there. Why they have that? That's what I used to really wonder. In the temple, in the hospital. Because if the problem gets solved and the fellow gets out quickly, there is no business for the doctor. Doctor also goes and prays. The patient also prays. What will be the prayer of the doctor? What is the prayer of the patient? Ganesha would have got really confused. What to do, That's what everybody prays, At least all those guys who come in two-wheeler, they used to pray like that. Till I reach home, let it not rain. Those who are in car will never understand that. Those who go in, two-wheeler, they'll say what? Till I reach home, let it not rain. All the time, someone or the other is there on the road. So imagine Varuna Bhagavan has to decide when to rain. Let everybody go. Only this 10 days he has to rain now. Lockdown. Even in this lockdown period also, there are so many people on the road now. Now what to do about those fellows? What is that we are praying, sir? See, even when you go there, your request is only for what? You do all good action. Good karma you do. But for what you are doing that good karma? You may also do dhanam also. You can do yajna also. You can do tapas also. Ravana did tapas, no? Hiranyakashipu did tapas, right? Now you can't say they did not do tapas. They also did tapas. But what is the agenda? That defines. He was also so consistent. In fact, Hiranyakashipu and Ravana did better tapas than Vishwamitra. Because Vishwamitra fell so many times. Whereas Ravana, Hiranyakashipu did not budge. So many disturbances were caused. So many temptations came. They did not yield. So who is better, sir? Hiranyakashipu and Ravana is better than Vishwamitra? No. He is also doing it. For what, sir? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, all that you do only for what? Two things he says. Kanchana, Kamini, he says. All that you are doing is only what? Kanchana. What is it? Acquiring something, enjoying something. That's all. Your pursuit is consistent. Wherever you go, the pursuit is for towards what, sir? To acquire something, to enjoy something. The consistency with which you pursue your desires, your acquisition, enjoyment is called Rajasic Dhriti. And the best part, what is the result of all that, sir? Agitation. He gets agitated, Rajasic one. We'll go to Sukham. No, there we will see. Okay, no, I don't want to, slip into that. Right? We will go there. In Sukham we will connect. Now, the Rajasic Dhriti is where the selfish, ego and egocentric, result-oriented pursuit of your selfish demands, selfish desires, selfish attachments. That is called Rajasic Dhriti. Tamasic Dhriti is what, sir? That's a class. He will not leave. He is committed to and he is consistent in the pursuit. So remember that word. Right. I'm just using the rhyming term so that it's easy for you to remember. That's all. There's nothing, this. In fact, it's easy to remember those two words. Committed and consistent in pursuit. Put together is called Dhriti. He's committed to what? His commitment is towards what, sir? Sleep. He's committed to sleep. Any given chance, he will go to sleep. That is called Tamasic Dhriti. Will not give up. Ignorance, he will not give up. I don't know, but still. I don't know, but still. I don't know, but still. This is called Tamasic Dhriti. Your ignorance, you will not give up. Even if you understand that you lack that knowledge, even if you understand that you need that knowledge, still you will not budge. You will not move away from that. You may go through the suffering and the consequences of your ignorance. You may suffer because of that ignorance, but still you will not give it up. That is called Tamasic Dhriti. You hold on to what, sir? Your fear. You will hold on to your grief. Your grief, past. Fear, future. You will not give up. It's agitating you, actually. Why don't you give it up? No. Like 25 years back, one fellow said one thing to you. A fellow will hold on to it even till date. He will not drop that. Something happened, Of course, it is a tragic one. Correct. Each one had, their own interpretation, their own understanding of, problems of life. Everybody has encountered their own problems. Now, the grief has to be there at that moment. Correct. Legitimate that is. But the problem is, you will not come out of it. We feel, I should not come out of it. I don't feel like coming out of it. I don't want to come out of it. I will not come out of it. That consistency with which you hold on to your grief, the consistency with which you hold on to the fear of your future. What is going to be the new normalcy? What is going to be the new normalcy? What is going to happen after? What is going to happen? Let it happen, no. What? Fear of future. Fear, constantly. Every parent have the fear about their child future. If you are scoring only 75 marks, how will you live life? That fellow turns around and asks you, how much did you score? With 45 marks, if you can score in life and live, with 75, what is his problem? But still, every parent will say what? Oh, I'm worried about my child's future. I'm worried about my child's future. I'm concerned about my child. Why? What is that? See, factually, if there is something, sir, what to do because of these things there is. So you have to go in for correction. You have to go in for proper guidance or changing and all those things. But then holding on to that fear, you will not give up. That it's like, the cows, they do, cut chewing, they do, in the shed. You go, they go on eating. They bring back that and keep chewing. Same way, you bring that experiences of yours. You bring that back and think. You bring that grief, think. You bring that fear and think. And most of the time, what is it, sir? Imagination. You will not give up your imagination. And is there a limit to imagination? There is no limit at all. Anything is possible in imagination. Everything is possible in imagination. So, nowhere that fellow will be able to come out of this. He's stuck. That's what Krishna calls as Tamasik Dhriti. This, he would not give up. The confusions, this fellow will not give up. The consistency with which you hold on to your confusions, you see, that is called a Tamasik Dhriti. Another dimension. See, when you are taking certain major decisions in life, you are bound to have some confusion, isn't it? You're bound to. Like, imagine a person says, sir, I am 55 now. My company is offering me VRS. Should I take or not? It is a major decision. You can't say that, it's just like that, you can take a call on that. No, he has to consider so many factors. There will be some confusion in those major decisions. Should I get married or not? It is a major decision. Should I have a child or not? It is a major decision. When you are taking such major decisions, yes, it is legitimate to have it. I told you already. You are legitimate to have certain X duration. The problem is when you are stretching it beyond that. You see, anything, when you are stretching it beyond, only the problem is. This Tamasik Dhriti will stretch it beyond that requirement. It will not budge from that delusive understanding of life. Delusion. Now, in this context, we give a different interpretation to delusion. Now, here we will say, what is delusion, sir? Here, delusion is to be taken as a wrong concept of something. What is the wrong conceptualization? Certain understanding you arrive at about a field in which you are not an expert. You don't know the field. You have not worked in that field. You have never put in your efforts in that field. But you arrive at certain conclusions. And you hold on to those conclusions. That is called Tamasik Dhriti. Delusion. Delusion means this. A field in which I have never worked on. What do you know in that field? Have you studied? Have you worked? Nothing. Without you doing, this is what Josh Billings says. The trouble with most folks is not so much so their ignorance as their knowing so many things which and so is. One of my favorite statements. Any class, wherever I go and speak in any topic, somewhere I will bring this point. Doesn't matter what I talk. Doesn't matter what topic you give me. Somewhere I will bring this idea and tell people this. Because so, beautiful that is. You will not give it up. The delusion that fellow will not give up. Hold on to this. Hold on to that, the pursuit of what? Sleep, imagination, fear, grief. Okay, for understanding purpose, I said fear over future and grief over the past. Okay, now it's just a terminology. Okay, something in the past, something about the future. You are so worried. What are you doing, sir? You won't give it up. Imagination. You will not give up. It's amazing to see people. Imagine, oh, this, that. What if that? What if that also happens? If this, that, and that also happens, what happens? If this, that, nothing has happened actually. All imagination. In the name of thinking. That's what the point is. The beauty is, under what pretense he continues to maintain that is, he says, I am thinking, is what he believes. That is what delusion is. What effort you have put in, adamant, stubborn. Yes. About what? If you are committed, you are stubborn, if you are not willing to give up these things, that is called tamasic dhriti. Sattvic dhriti, committed for evolution, consistent in the application of the pursuit of the spiritual efforts. How consistent I am in the spiritual effort, that is called. Now, from where does this come about? Dhriti, Sattvic dhriti. How do you get that Sattvic dhriti, sir? See, remember this, the study of these things, we do all that only for us to recognize. Now, first you got to understand the purpose. The purpose of that study of this is to know where I am not consistent. Identify my areas of inconsistency and try to overcome that. Now, that's the idea. Now, with which when you are analyzing, essentially what is required is dhriti is an effect of your understanding. It is the effect of your understanding that how important and essential, how necessary it is. Now, for us today, spiritual path is not a necessity. For many of us, spiritual path is more of a luxury, comfort. If I can grow spiritually also, okay. But nobody understands spiritual evolution is a must for me. All of us will say what? We immediately will go to Maslow. He says what? See, first requirement is what? Security, food, water, clothing, this. Then this. Then this. Then finally, if you are alive after the pursuit of all those things, then you will get to all that. Till then, what, sir? Now, Vedanta says that Maslow is totally wrong. It doesn't work like that, please. It is not that, a lot of people believe when a man is hungry, how can you talk philosophy to him? I say, okay, we cannot talk to those people. You are not hungry. No, I am talking to you. Are you following? To an illiterate people, how can you talk Vedanta? Correct. You can't talk. All of you are literates, no? Are you pursuing? Are you taking realization as your primary goal? Do you think it is a necessity? This is where Sattvic intellect comes into picture. The Sattvic intellect, through the development of Sattvic knowledge, will be able to have Sattvic Dhriti. I'll catch you tomorrow when you are fresh. I'll come back to you. Most of you are already feeling, dozing off. Like, I don't know whether it is because of the lighting or it is this, I'll take it up, tomorrow. Remind me. Okay. Even if I forget, you remind me, because this is very, very important. How do you develop it, sir? How do you develop this dhriti? Because it is such a critical factor. That is why these two things Krishna keeps it separate. In fact, this why he segregates buddhi and dhriti, separate one, is it's a very, very important one. It's a crux. Other things also, it's not that other things are not important, of course, but the fact that he's segregating that and analyzing is where we feel it is something very more attention to be paid to it. That's why we'll spend little more time on this dhriti. But essentially, what you have to understand is dhriti is an effect of what, sir? Effect of understanding the necessity of spiritual growth. That is where you have. This is the essential one. And then there are a few ancillary things you can cultivate to develop that dhriti. Right. So we will see that tomorrow. Hari Om.